Bellefontaine, and you're listening to the HomeBuyer's Hour on WCPT AM 820, where the facts matter. And yes, I'm only saying the really hard so I could pull a trigger on Patrick in front of me.
Where the facts matter.
Where the facts matter, absolutely. So we have in the studio with us today Frank Scaletta. Frank Scaletta is a partner with another gentleman that was on our show. Greg Cerrone. I was just drawing a blank right there for a minute. But anyway, Frank, can you tell us about your brokerage name? Give us some contact information, please.
Sure. Brokerage name is XR Realty, so nice and simple. Does
XR stand for anything?
Well, if you ask Greg, he's going to tell you this whole thing, how he loves math, and X is part of an equation, and the X stands for the agent or the X factor, which is true, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what stands out. To us, the name, it carries something, but the agent really is, in today's real estate, is really the difference maker. It's not the name, whether you're with a big brokerage, small brokerage. It's the agent that actually shines and brings the value. So that's what the X is.
Okay.
XR Realty, we're on the northwest side. We service obviously all of Chicago and suburbs. We've been over a year now. We've opened. We've got over 20 agents.
Give me a phone number and a website, please. Hopefully I typed your phone number in right on the screen. We'll find out right now.
Okay. Our website is xragent.com.
Okay.
Everybody, hold on a second. I'm going, and the phone number is 708-234. Hold on a second. I'm drawing a blank too on our.
No, that's all right.
I'm always used to giving
your cell phone.
I'm always used to giving my cell phone 708-218-3787.
That's the one I got on the screen. Say it again a little bit slower so people can write it down.
708-218-3787.
Thank you. And Patrick's in the studio as well. Patrick, please give us the rundown, and he's giving me the head shakes like I just cut off Frank. But go ahead.
No, that's just the caffeine, man. Let me tell you, you both have brought up Greg, and so I'm going to do the same thing. I want to let you know why I love Greg, and it's because he turned me on to this bakery that's just up the road.
New Paradise.
New Paradise, y'all. They're not sponsoring us. I'm open to their money if they want.
They should.
New Paradise Bakery is it's when a man from Sicily recommends a Sicilian bakery to you, you go to that bakery unless you're a fool. And I don't think I'm a fool. And so when he said you've got to go to this place, I went. And boy, every single week, no joke, every single week after the show, I head straight to the bakery and I go get, there's always some new delicious pastry it's ruined me on cannolis. It's ruined me. This is a whole ad. It's ruined me on tiramisu. Basically anything pastry or Italian dessert. It's like, Thank you, Greg. If nothing else comes of me doing this show, knowing where to get the best pastries is, it's so valuable for me. I am Patrick Loftus. I am not a pastry chef. I am a pastry enjoyer. I'm also a real estate lawyer. You can find me on social media, and boy, a lot of people have been finding me on social media because I've been talking a lot about the NAR settlement, which Charlie doesn't really want to talk about, but if you want to talk about it with me, boy, a lot of people do. Find me on TikTok for sure at Loftus Law. Find me on Instagram, Loftus_law.
Outstanding. And my name is Charlie Bellefontaine. I own Chicagoland Home Inspectors. And Patrick Loftus will tell you that we are the highest rated home inspection company.
It's true.
In the entire Chicagoland area. Our website is www.thehomeinspectors. That's plural, ORS, and it's a .com. Our phone number is 312-544-9180. Again, 312-544-9180. And Joey, I want to hear who you are and tell me what is going on in the finance world, please.
Why, hello, friends. My name is Joey Matthews, the VA Loan Nerd. You can find me at thevaloannerd.com. Find me across all the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd. Feel free to call or text me.
Yes.
235-2405. And in the markets,
nice.
we had manufacturing production data come in heavy for the first time in years. So we saw a uptick in the 10-year Treasury yield on Monday. And then the JOLTS report, the job openings report, came out yesterday. It literally almost exactly what was expected. However, last month's got revised down, shocker. So we saw a little bit of market improvement yesterday after seeing a heavy sell-off on Monday. Rate-wise, nothing crazy. We're within an eighth of where we were on Monday, maybe a quarter. And what do we got coming up the rest of the week? Sorry, I usually have my economic calendar open, and I'm completely failing myself. We had services PMI come out at 9 a.m. I have not looked at it yet, but I'm about to. I'm hitting refresh as we speak, so I apologize.
That's some
And
nice
it
vamping.
came in light. That came in light, so maybe we'll see a good change in the Treasury. However, right now the Treasury is trading at a 4.389% yield after having stayed between 3.8 and 4.1 for so long. It's been staying between 4.1 and 4.4 for a long time. What does that mean to everybody? The higher the Treasury yield is, higher rates are. All right, you want to see that 10-year Treasury yield drop to see mortgage-backed securities rise, but rates drop when mortgage-backed securities rise. So there we go. And I know Jay Powell's going to be running his mouth in a couple days here too, so we have that to look forward. Oh, I'm sorry, that is today. that is happening in 1 hour.
On Wednesday, and if you're listening on Saturday, well, guess what? It's not live. Joey, one thing I've been hearing through the grapevine is with a lot of these job openings, they're phantom job openings in the sense that
What does that mean?
Well, let me explain.
Well, I'd like to interrupt you.
I should just talk fast. Never mind. I love you, Steve. They're phantom job openings in the sense that they list them as jobs that are available, but at the same time, these companies will be like on a hiring freeze, or they're in no rush to fill these positions. So you've got these basically. They look like jobs that you could apply for and get, but all you're doing is tossing your application into the vast abyss. You go on LinkedIn, you submit 100 applications. They won't even get through the AI filter to get to a person that would even look at it. So it's like, sure, if you just look at the raw data, like this is the number of jobs available, and then that gets revised down, like Joey's been explaining over the past few weeks. It's like, how do you really evaluate it? Oh, we got a tight job market. Do we? I don't know. When you see stuff like that going on, is that data being manipulated? Why? I don't know.
That's interesting. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If it is or isn't, I'd be curious too. But that's not what our subject's going to be about today. I'm going to get back to Frank a little bit. I'm so sorry. I'm not good at the segue stuff here. But one thing that's interesting, and Greg, by the way, is listening. He chimed in with a whole bunch of power
with a bunch of muscles?
emojis. Yeah, muscles in there. And smiley faces. So
no eggplants, though.
But I want to, it really intrigued me that the two of you started a brand new brokerage, and you didn't go with any of the big name. You actually decided to make the sponsoring broker your own name.
Yeah, 100%.
And I want to, if you don't mind, and we are always short on time, but give me the pathway of that journey. How does it start, and how do you get people? How'd you get where you are now?
I mean, it'll be very fast forward through the years. I mean, we started at a small place. He started before me. When he started, there was just an old timer there that was kind of just a managing broker license, didn't really do much. He just was there to be the managing broker, but he didn't own the brokerage. It was owned by an accountant. So the owner actually had no interest in real estate. It was just another branch of his business that somebody else ran. So Greg started, then I jumped on a few years after him. The managing broker left, Greg became managing broker, and then it was just us two. And then we kind of built that from there. And at one point, fast forward 10, 12 years I was there, we were at 15 agents. Okay, we have a no-name name that's a name we built ourselves. I don't want to say we built ourselves. It was around for a while, but it wasn't popular. It wasn't a Century 21, a Colwell. It was not a real estate power name or anything like that. So we're working with a name that nobody knew. I mean, I remember setting up showings back when I first started. Like, what's your name? What's this company? And so we already had that. We were already working with that already. We had an office and we had the people. So, and we were running everything. So it just kind of made sense. Like, okay, we could if we want to go to the next level, we got to kind of branch out and do this on our own. So we have more control, right? We can make the bigger office. We can make a more modern office. We could, host events there. So that was the vision, and if we want to get more experienced agents or agents to be more successful, we kind of wanted to offer everything that all the other brokerages have to offer.
Now let me ask a little more dwelling on that. So you talked about the no name, or no name recognition for the business, but just from talking to you, I could tell you actually understand the real estate business. And what I mean by that is one of my test questions that I ask real estate agents is, what do you sell? And if they come back, well, I sell houses, of course. And they look at me like I'm an idiot, and you're smiling because that's not the truth or not the right answer, when the right answer should always be I sell myself, and I sell trust, and I sell, my knowledge. I sell everything that I could do. I sell a relationship between the client and you. And that's the real value, is the person in a real estate office, not necessarily the name brand. Now, don't get me wrong. There's always processes and systems that are in place that do assist the agent in building that relationship, but it's the relationship that's what's important.
Prove
me wrong.
No, I'm not going to. I felt like, just when you're moving into doing a new venture, you always think of like all the things that could go wrong. At least I do, unfortunately. And one of the things is, okay, if I took a poll of what who everyone I sold a house, if I took a poll of what company, if they knew the name of the company that was sponsored me, would they know? I'd probably say 90% would not. I just kind of use a simple model when I started, sounds cliche. It's just like, hey, if I was looking for an agent, which, what would I expect? What would I want them to be like? And,
answer that question. What do you
and
want
so
them to be like?
me personally, you want to be knowledgeable. I don't want them to push me into something I don't want to do. Okay. I want them to look out for my best interest. I want them to be approachable. If I don't like something, I want to make it easy for me to articulate that. It's almost like going when you approach a salesman and he's pushing you, and we don't sell, I'm not going door to door selling vacuum cleaners. Nothing against that, but people are coming to me for something they want. They have a need. I'm almost like trying to solve a problem here. Like, okay, they're looking for something. I'm here to guide them into figuring out not what they want. So okay, we go. We start from the bottom and work our way up, almost like building blocks. Like, hey,
the same is kind of in my business. It's kind of the same. Our focus is education, not manipulation. I don't want to tell anybody what to do.
Yeah.
I want to give them enough knowledge that they can do it. Patrick, chime in on that, because I think you're somewhat the same.
Yeah, I am. And it's interesting. I feel like as Frank is describing the process he went through, which is, it's sort of, I don't think you're ever like ready or like, I'm ready to start this business. But I think you get to a point where it's not really tenable anymore to be under the constraints of someone whose values you don't align with, right? So, Frank, at breakfast you were saying, the office was dingy and you felt kind of embarrassed to invite clients there. And, you found value in having a bright, modern office, with the things that one would expect, and without the things that one would expect as well, as just one example. And it's like, once you take that leap and you go, okay, I'm the buck stops here, right? I'm the one making the decisions as far as my business. How do I want to be like as a lawyer? And it was really for me a revelation as I got into being my own boss, so to speak, is that I got to, instead of going to a partner who I worked for and saying, hey, here's what I think, and they go, no, actually this, and you go, I don't think that's really good advice for the client. Maybe it's good advice for the firm because we're gonna build 10 more hours out of it, but that's not me. I'm not vibing with that. I want to be the lawyer that I would feel good hiring. And that's the person who, we're not going to have fee disputes because we're going to be really clear about what my services cost.
And you used one of my favorite words, value.
Well, I mean, value is a good word.
It's a very good word.
In more ways than one, right? I'm able to run my business and run my practice. Okay, maybe not run my business, but I can run my practice in the way that I am being true to my values.
Now, doesn't that feel like good? Like that's kind of like why I do what I do. It's like I could be me.
The best. It's
and
the best.
And that's why I went to a small brokerage to begin with. I didn't want, because I know when you go big, it's like they want to. Unfortunately, it's about a lot of bottom line for them, and it's like I get it, but at the same time, it's I kind of want to do it. I don't want to. It sounds a little arrogant, but I kind of want to do it my way. And if I'm gonna, I want to be me when I do my job.
Yeah,
and if there's something I don't want to do, I'm not doing it. And if there's something that I feel like, hey, this is the right way to do it. This is the way, not because, well, if you do this, then you could make more. It's just like, well, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. And you could be true to yourself. And
yeah, I want to make it about my clients. And I know a lot of lawyers, they run their law firms more like a business, where it's like, they're looking at revenue coming in, and the billables are really important to them. And the clients are sort of the secondary concern. Getting the clients, yes, top concern, but actually, being true to what the client's needs are, I don't know that it necessarily is the number one thing. Whereas with me, it's the number one thing.
Well, in the quick game, the other way is probably more profitable, but long term, I think your way will be more successful because it's hard to get new clients. You gotta work 10 times as harder versus
I think the real hard part is, the right thing that everybody's doing is focusing on the value that you're going to be giving to your clients. All right, that's the number one important thing. But the hardest thing to do is to convey that value to somebody who doesn't even know who you are. And how do you convey, why am I more valuable than any other? Well, let's go pick on Joey. Joey, why are you more valuable than any other mortgage broker out there?
It's hilarious. I actually got dropped right before you asked that, so I only heard the butt end of that. So, what makes me valuable is is being completely full of anxiety and nuts and treating every effing file.
You make that work though.
You're literally dealing with people's lives in your hand. Shelter is one of the most basic needs in life, and we are being honored by being allowed to be trusted with that piece of their life. So if you can't honor what they are allowing you to be a part of, then I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're here, and I would love for you to stop collecting a paycheck, walk away, and do something terrible.
Right, but I don't like blaming them. I'd rather blame me. It's my fault if I cannot convey the value of our company to a potential client, and they go with somebody who's cheaper, less knowledgeable, and just does, quite frankly, a poor job and harms them. That's my fault, not their fault. Not always.
It's not your fault. I see. Let me disagree with you on this because I think that you're assuming that every consumer has the same set of values, right? There are some people out there that, as much as we try to combat the idea that people like you, Frank, are commodities, there are some people that just don't want to hear it, right? They want the lowest.
That's their fault. I can't fix that.
Sure.
Right.
There you go. There you go.
I can't.
So if someone comes to me, if I get a call and it's a new client and they say, hey, first thing they ask is how much do you charge? And I tell them what I charge and they say, thanks, we'll be in touch. I know that person wasn't a good fit for me because all they want is the least expensive lawyer. They think, hey, this is going to happen the way it's going to happen, and I'm told I'm supposed to have a lawyer, so I guess I'm going to go get a lawyer and whatever. And same in your business, I could find someone that would do a home inspection for $295. I would not recommend that.
Why not?
Why not? Because I know if someone is charging that amount, it means that they are either, there's a number of things that could be the case. They're either going to be moving very fast so that they can do 3, maybe 4 inspections in a day, and they're going to pump those out. They're not going to be very thorough, and the chances of them missing something is going to be much higher than one of your inspectors who's going to do 1 in a day. They're going to take their time and be thorough. It could be that their inspector is very green, right? They just got their license and they're like, look, I just need business. So they're charging, the lowest amount so they can find people looking for that commodity that is a building inspector. But I think more people, and Charlie, when you speak with someone and they're like, yeah, they sort of get it, your values align, that segment of the consumer base is who you're aiming at. So if someone, that's the price, you go, hey, not for me, fine. If they are asking more questions and your answers align with what they're looking for, there you go. Now you're establishing that the values align.
I could buy into that. I want to hear from Joey and Frank. Joey, how do you, and Frank, I will get to you in a second. I want to hear from Joey first. Joey, how do you get the value of your business into potential clients, or is that really not something that you have to do?
I do, but everybody comes to me really from referrals.
So you have your sales team out there. I
don't really work with realtors myself. That's not really my thing. I'm very direct to consumer. I work with a ton of firefighters, cops, veterans, period, right? And those firefighters, veterans, cops, they refer me to the people that they know. And then I create and that's the thing is those 3 markets by themselves, it's very triangle of trust. Everybody is like, hey, if that's the guy, that's the guy, right? And I become that guy, which is nice. And then I have my initial conversations. We talk the same language. I talk about literally what I just mentioned a minute ago is my insanity. And, and it works. It works. And then obviously you go through the process, you get them closed, and you continue talking to them because like all these people that I've worked with in the past, like I stay in touch, because I was one of the most important people in your life for 30 days. I am not going to lose that relationship. You know what I mean? Like I just had a review come in yesterday. The guy's like, Joey treated me like family. The guy's in Fort Myers. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, that's the way this is,
I think I read that one. I know I made a comment to my wife. I'm like, well, don't treat me like family. Treat me like a friend. Sometimes the family isn't always that good. Yeah. So how about you, Frank? If somebody's calling up, your brokerage and that, or whether it's a real estate agent or a home buyer, home seller, whatever, what is your value that you give to a client as opposed to any other company out there?
Well, I think we touched on this, and this is kind of important to get clients. Like it's really branding, right? You have to, kind of what Patrick is saying, if someone's just looking for like the cheapest way to go, that's what they value, right? But I feel like in any business, people want service, okay? Like, does anybody like calling Comcast or like who enjoys it? We're stuck with them because we have no choice. Like, they're all the same. There's 3 companies. You're stuck calling them. So what I do is just try to make it super simple to the consumer. And I think the way I brand myself, the way we brand our company, the way we've done flips. I have rentals. I've done it. I have personal experience. I know what it feels like. And kind of like what Joey's saying, he's saying like shelter is the most important thing for probably 90% of the people. This is all the money they have. They don't have stocks, all these investments, portfolio, and all this. They have a house and their W-2. That's their income. So their house is everything, and if they don't have one and they're buying one, they're probably putting everything in it. So you have to keep that in mind. It's not just another sale. Like this is everything for these people. So you gotta be very delicate in what you do, and you gotta understand things, and you gotta help them make the right decision that's best for them. So I think now more than ever, it's all about branding yourself, and you have to show what you bring. So you walk in a house, it's about making them realize what it is. Like, hey, people, you go into Georgian, for example. Did you guys realize there's no bathroom on the main floor? Like most of them, maybe 80% of them. So it's like, shoot, I didn't even notice that. Like,
it's funny you say that.
I got to walk up the stairs every time. I'll go, oh, I hate that. Or, sometimes you get the addition on the back and they have it, or just stuff like that. And do you like the layout? No, okay, so maybe these when we see these aren't the best, or you really like it, it just needs this. So it's kind of like you're walking them through their own thought process versus them, because sometimes their mind is a little frazzled. Oh, new kitchen. Oh, new bathroom. Oh, my bed could fit in here. Oh, the TV goes here. But okay, what about when this happens? What about when that's happened? Oh, what if you have a family party? Do you have family parties? Do you, can you fit a kitchen table in here? Do you guys eat it? Some people are like, oh, we just eat at the couch. So it's like everyone's different. It's not a one size fit all. But back to what Patrick is saying, I think you can't be the same for everybody. You attract your own tribe, I feel like. So sometimes you're not a fit for everyone out there, even though you try to be. But you're gonna gel with people who gel with you and who have the same value set up with you.
You mentioned before how a lot of home buyers don't have a lot of money, and you made me flash back a little bit. I got a little trigger. Well, it is true. If you do a Google search for This Old House magazine, and you can either search for the title of the article, which is Looking for Trouble, or you do a search for my name, Charles Bellefontaine. So This Old House, Looking for Trouble. I think it was like back in 2002.
Okay.
They did it in their magazine, a big spread. But when we bought our first house, I put everything I had for the down payment. I borrowed as much as I could, for everything else. And then all of a sudden the roof started leaking. And I wasn't a home inspector. I didn't hire a home inspector because I was a framing carpenter and a fireman, and I was a know-it-all. And they'll say that, or at least my wife said that in the article, and it was funny because the reporter goes, "Can we print that?" I'm like, "Yeah, Heather, I was," But
get some bubble gum, just right there on the spot that's leaking. You're good.
It was amazing, though. Yeah, and I had to borrow money from my in-laws to go ahead and pay for these things because I didn't have any extra money.
It's brutal.
I was just mortgage poor, and I know debt's a big thing to Joey as well, trying to educate home buyers into avoiding that pitfall of becoming mortgage broke.
Lend them as much money as possible is what Joey says.
That's not true.
Yeah, I mean, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Joey, lend them as much money as possible. What do you think about that?
Maximum pre-approval is the most garbage thing anybody could do to another human being.
100%
What they will allow you to do is not what you should do.
No, but
Well,
spending
tell me more.
36%
Why?
of your gross income on your housing payment, Charlie, you talked about having to eat a lot of beans and rice. I happen to like beans and rice, by the way. I probably eat
Healthy.
it three
I
times.
didn't.
I probably eat it 3 times a week for breakfast. But if you are not into beans and rice, probably don't borrow as much as you possibly can.
Or mac and cheese. There's a whole bunch of $1
Mac and cheese
meals
is
out
good.
there.
Yeah, I like that. No, I remember what I was going to say, though. It's like, I think there's a misconception out there, and well, there's a lot of misconceptions out there. Let me be honest, but the idea that you're going to help them find the house, I think that's a little bit skewed, especially today when everything is on the internet. One of your main roles, in addition to negotiating and understanding how to do that and what the different levers are, but making sure that they understand the house in a holistic way, helping them not buy the wrong house.
Yeah.
Is I think a huge thing, and sometimes people will respond to that saying, "Well, what about the inspector?" It's like, sure, that's also part of the inspector's role. However, by the time you get the inspector involved, that's an extra expense, certainly, as well as the time spent to find out, whoops, this isn't the one for us. And I think that someone, when you talk about a Georgian not having a bathroom on the first floor, shoot, it never occurred to me. And this is a person who is going to help you avoid ending up 2 weeks into a contract saying, this isn't for me.
It's time, Patrick, to go ahead and give our information again. Can you please do that? And then we'll get to you, Frank, in a second. Sure.
Yes.
How do people get hold of you?
Come to my comment section on TikTok and watch people argue with each other and get very angry.
You've been enjoying that.
I have so much. It's like,
I want to go there right now.
oh, well, if you would like to go there, it's at Loftus Law, and find out all about my hot takes on the NAR settlement, because a lot of people are into that, it seems. Find me on Instagram if you want, instead of giving your personal information to the Chinese Communist Party. If you'd rather give it to Mark Zuckerberg, find me on Instagram, Loftus_law. I don't know which one's worse, to be honest.
Christy came over, one of my friends, for Easter. She goes, I really like that Patrick Loftus guy. She really did. And it goes, he likes to stir the pot, you know? I'm like, yeah, he does.
A little bit.
You know, but that's what makes him lovable. But he's super smart, too. Joey, give us your contact info, please.
For sure. So you can find me at thevalonerd.com. You can find me across all the social medias as at thevalonerd. If you want, you can call or text me at 630-235-2405.
Still rocking your cup.
And then my name is Charlie Bellefontaine, and I own Chicagoland Home Inspectors and Home Inspection University. Home Inspection University is HIUIL.com. If you're interested in joining our profession, let us know. If you are a home inspector and you're looking to step up your game a little bit and you want to join our company, we do need about 3 or 4 more people here. We're booked out right now over a week, and it gets a little frustrating when we have to turn those jobs away. But we're looking for people that are passionate in helping other people. Best way to reach me, 312-544-9180. Press option 3, and that'll send you my cell phone. Frank, I'm going to want you to, follow up on something that Patrick said after you give your information about finding the right house for your client. But first, please give us your contact information.
All right. Frank Scaletta, phone number 708-218-3787. You could call or text me there, or on Instagram, it's Frank Scaletta Realtor. And Facebook, you could find me, Frank Scaletta Realtor or Frank Scaletta as well. Also with XR Realty, you could find us on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Tell me about that podcast, too, real quick.
So we try to do a podcast once a month. We actually got one today after this. And again, it's another tool that we offer agents. We're going to have today, you guys, this is an open invite for you guys. Anytime you guys want to jump on, let us know. We'd love to have you.
Well, you should have the highest rated home inspection company in the entire
I
nation.
didn't have the nerve till right now. You kind of just set the table for me, and both you guys would be welcome to come anytime.
I love it.
If you want me to talk over everyone on your podcast as well,
Well, you and Greg could talk over each other, and me and Charlie will sit. I got a good coffee machine. We'll have coffee and watch them yell at each other.
I love it.
So how do you help someone find the right house?
Yeah, so by talking about the podcast, so we do a podcast where we try to get some exposure, create some social media content for people that are a little bit camera shy. It's a more of a natural approach. I like it personally, and we have a guy comes in, edits it, creates reels for us,
Nice.
And it's just another tool we offer.
What's the name of it?
XR Podcast on YouTube.
XR Podcast, okay.
Yeah. So we've done, I don't know, we're on episode 20-something already. So we started since the day we opened, like the December before we opened, and we've been doing, I don't remember how many we're on, probably on 25 if I was to guess off the top of my head. So yeah, we're going to do one after this afternoon. So when I say find the right house, it's not, I could look and scroll, but with all the people you work with, that's really not a realistic thing. Obviously you're honed in on markets and you run across someone pops in your head or a client. What I meant by that more is like, I'm helping them realize what they want. 'Cause especially first time buyers, they think they know. I mean, everyone has an idea of what they want when they see it in person. I've seen this all the time. They can give me, hey, Frank, I want A, B, C, D. I bring them A, B, C, D. They're like, yeah, just doesn't feel right. Well, it's a feeling and sometimes a house has that. So it's kind of like, then you just talk through, well, is it this? Is it that? And then you help them talk through it. Because a lot of times it's two people, a husband, and things can get tense sometimes. So you kind of want to bring a more of a, like, I'm sure you do with your inspections, right? You hit them with a 40-item inspection list.
40?
And then,
Holy cow, that's a good house.
oh, man. See?
70.
I like how you set the table. That's what I do. I'm like, yeah, every house, even brand new, is 20 things. That's what I tell them. So just so they don't freak out and say no, because people that never done a home inspection before, right? They get this list. They're like, what am I getting myself into? So when you kind of put something, hey, this is common, then it's like, oh, okay, let's get through it. So that's kind of, it's not like I'm back searching. Oh, I got just the house for you, because people, I can't, there's what they like. You know, if they like it and I don't, that's fine. It's their money. Like
Absolutely.
I'm here to help you to go on the journey, to go on the search with you. And I tell them, like, right out of the gate, like, if we walk in somewhere and you say, hey, Frank, I hate this house, and you could tell me that, I love it. I'm like, that helps me. That's good. That's what I want. Sometimes people get like tight-lipped about it and they think like I'm going to be upset. Like we're on the same team. Everyone's on the same team here. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
if
here
it's
to
a no. Let's
I'm not here to
get
sell you
that.
something you don't want. It's not like I'm a card. You know, I don't want to
No,
get a
but
card.
you need to know what they do want.
Yeah.
And that's where this all comes into
Sure.
play. And sometimes, I think most of the time, people don't know what they
No,
want.
I tell them 80% of it is knowing where you want to be and what you want. 20% is finding it. You know, in a realistic way, right? I mean, obviously, you got to be realistic with price, but.
Do you have an onboarding form for them, for buyers?
Oh, like what to. You know what?
Or an interview questionnaire or something?
I kind of just I try to focus on when I first meet somebody is like, hey, the area, because that I can't change. You could change a kitchen, you could remodel a bathroom, you could, everyone wants updated, white on white. Everyone wants all that, everything done. Everyone like the rehabs, the flip. Everyone loves those. But if let's start from ground zero. What would be your ideal situation? Let's go for that. If we can't find that, then we'll work our way outwards. We'll go to, okay, well, I'll take it on the chin with this if I can get this, or I'd rather have a nicer place because I work from home, so I'll go. I don't really need to be in that location. Or I got 3 kids. I want to be around my parents because I need help watching the kid. You know what I mean? Everyone's different. So I kind of start with location, and then obviously, hey, do you need 2, 3 bedrooms? Do you need it? And then, okay, now I got some kind of, if I got the non-negotiables, then we see what fits.
Yeah, if they want to live on Lakeshore Drive and you find them their perfect condo in Des Plaines, it's not really helpful, right?
No. Yeah, it's got everything you want. Oh, yeah, it's in Des Plaines. So the location you can't really change. So you kind of.
I like Des Plaines.
No, I like Des Plaines too. He was just saying.
I'm very neutral on Des Plaines, honestly.
Well,
I know like the first McDonald's was there. Not the first one, but like the first franchise, right?
And the Choo Choo restaurant, man. I was
got
a
the train.
kid when I went to the Choo Choo restaurant. Seriously, you never heard of the Choo Choo
It's
restaurant?
got a train on top.
Well,
they hot dogs, fries in the
They bring
basket.
you your food on a flatbed of a train car. So they just run the train in front of you, and they stop it. You take your plate. When you're a kid, it's awesome.
This still exists?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah?
I don't know.
I'm
gonna need a little
Google
help.
the Choo Choo restaurant after this because I'm not. It's not gonna change my opinion on Des Plaines, but like.
For the record, you brought up the Des Plaines thing. Don't tie me
no
into
lie.
Don't tie me into your Des Plaines. I got a lot of people that live there.
Devin Tingle is our producer. I want to just give him a quick shout out. A gentleman named Christopher is going to be calling in. He put a question up on here, but I don't understand what it is. So if you're free, please dial 773-594-8781, and then Devin will patch it through. All right? So going back to you, Frank, please, and thank you. I still want to find out about finding the right person. Location. That seemed to be the old joke in real estate. What's the most important thing? And it still is.
I think so.
But what are the next items after location? What are things that make decisions?
Well, obviously, if they has 3 kids, they can't live in a 1-bedroom, right? So you got to. Yeah, you could. Yeah. Back in the day, that's right. But you kind of want to see what's important to them. So like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This 4 would be nice. 3, okay, and then really, honestly, you can't get all that from an interview. You got to almost see them in action. It's you got to see them in action and see like, okay, how are they reacting to this? I could find them the perfect house there that checks all the boxes, and I could take them there, and they could hate it. I mean, I know this because that's what happens. And I'm making it up. It's not my opinion. I see it every day. And a lot of times they'll ask me, what do you like better? They'll put 1 or 2, and I'll tell them, actually, I like this one. And they're like, oh, really? We like the other one? I'm like, okay, go for the other one. Like, it's what you like. There's nothing wrong with either or. If I see something drastically, well, keep in mind there's this, and this.
I like a little advice question here, since you're talking about that. When I do my interviews, and I do those personally with all of our clients, one of the first questions I ask them is, how do you feel about the house now that you went through a process like this? And they they go, well, I'm nervous and everything else, and I'm really hoping that you're going to tell me what I should negotiate for. And I'm like, I'm too ignorant on what you should be negotiating for. I don't know, and I would be giving you very bad advice. And my whole thought process is I could tell you how much things are going to cost to cure. I could tell you what the probability that something's going to go wrong and somebody can get hurt or property's going to get damaged. I could do that. I could tell you what it's going to take to fix things. But as far as what you should negotiate for, there's a lot that comes into play on that.
Sure.
Can you elaborate on what comes into play on determining what leverage
ton of stuff
a buyer has?
Ton of stuff. Like if you...
How much time we have left?
Well, this is that last minute, 20-hour question I asked. All right?
Okay.
Joey, I'm going to need your help on that too.
Okay, so you go in. How did we get it? Did we have to go over asking? Was there 5 offers? Was there 2? Or was it sit on the market for a month and they had nothing? That's the main thing right there. If the seller has no other option, you kind of got the ball in your court. Now, you can't go ask for $30,000. I mean, you can, but I don't know if it's going anywhere. You want to be reasonable. So it depends on what it is. Like if something's working and you want, the furnace is old. Okay, well, it's old, but it works. I think even in the contract it says you can't even ask for that. A lot of people do.
Yeah, you're not supposed to, but yeah, whenever I get a request like that, my first reaction is, these people are working off script, and now I've lost a little bit of trust in them. And I've been talking over the past several weeks about how important trust is in any kind of transaction, but certainly in a real estate transaction. Yeah. The higher the level of trust, the smoother that transaction is going to go. And how do you develop trust? It's by being honest with people. It's by being forthcoming with, here are my vulnerabilities, and if that's reciprocated on the other side, now you're continuing to build trust. And another thing, not to step on you totally, which I just did. If you discover something that the seller is going to have to deal with no matter what, like if you discover, for example, that there's a blockage in the sewer, or that there's termite damage, is something that we talked about. The seller isn't going to get away with saying, well, I'm not going to sell it to you because I'm going to sell it to someone who is going to be ignorant of the termite damage. The ship has sailed on that. You're going to have to disclose it. And if you don't, and it gets discovered, let's say you do go that route, you go, let's get rid of these buyers. They're asking too much because, that termite damage isn't as bad as they're saying it is. And then the next transaction, the exact same thing comes up. What have you accomplished?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think those are big, house stopping issues. I'm talking like, okay, just the furnace is old, the AC is old. Yeah, you got some GCFIs, like all fixable things, but
those are usual.
Yeah, like those are usual things. But this year, I had someone get cute, and they're like, well, if they say no, it's no. Guess what? They had someone that was pounding on that door, waiting for that deal to fall apart, and they threatened to cancel, and we just had to take it as is. Like, we had to, we probably actually could have, we went for the home run, struck out, or they wanted to go for the home run and they struck out because I'm like, all right, I wouldn't. This guy says he's got somebody else. He could be lying to me, but why would he lie? He wants to keep the deal together. Because I try to feel out the other agent and be like, hey, this is what's going on. What do you think? I mean, you could just give me something reasonable. I mean, they don't know until it gets through attorneys, but I try to throw out the line and just kind of get the sense of who the seller is. Because sometimes sellers are like, nah, man, I'm not doing nothing. Like, it's as is. This is what I think. I'm not doing nothing. If it's not like a major disclosure issue and it's just a bunch of oh, there looks like this, the pump's not working, or it didn't work, or the garage door this, and they're like, you know what? I went down on price. House isn't perfect. We'll just cancel and go with somebody else. And unfortunately, the house they're getting it for $345, and everything in that market was $400. So it's like, okay, if we lose it, you're going to be seeing houses that are $400. So you gotta take price in consideration. I mean, you can't just say, hey, this stuff is wrong, you have to fix it. Well, what price are you paying for it?
This work that you're talking about this is the work, right? This, people talk about, real estate brokers, what do? This is what they do, guys. This is what they do. They go and they feel out the seller, and they make sure that if that $345,000 house is the one you should be buying, that you're not going to step your foot in the wrong direction and end up in a situation where you're gonna have to pay $400,000 for the next house.
Unless you want to.
Well, if you want, exactly. That's
Well,
what I said. I
they-
said, hey, there's work involved. So it's not like you just, you know, maybe it's going to cost you $20,000, but are you still ahead? Or maybe you just don't want to deal with it. It's too much of a risk. But be prepared. The next house is going to be more expensive.
Yeah,
and it's up to you.
Obviously, it's the client's choice. I mean, we say that every week, but you know, being able to make that choice in an informed way because you've got the right people advising you is so crucial. Yeah. And you know, this is why I'm constantly I'm banging the hammer. Is that a thing? I'm constantly telling people, look, real estate lawyers, all 0 of you who are listening to this is so important. You've got to be communicating with the real estate brokers that are handling these transactions with you, because if you don't know that Frank had that conversation with the other side and you go in and you go, I want a new furnace, I want a new roof, I want this and that, guess what? You just stepped directly in the turd that Frank was trying to avoid stepping in, because you don't want to have a conversation with that real estate broker. And you know what? I don't care, you know, how much more important you think you are than the real estate broker in the deal. You're not better than anyone else. You're not.
I mean, at the end of the day, you got to think of what the client. You got a seller and a buyer. The guy wants to sell a house. The guy just wants to buy a house.
We're going basic, old school right here. I love it.
They don't care where you went, what you did, how many sales I did. They want the house. They want to go. They want to get in. You just got to dumb it down. I'm no one special. These people want to see a house. When I get in the house, and they start hitting me with questions, I could pretty much answer all of them. I mean, that I'm not unless I need psychic power and I have this. But if it's like basic realty questions, you know, I'm not really afraid to you know, like, oh, what if they? It's like there's not really, unless, oh, why is the seller selling? That's my favorite. I'm like,
well, the mighty Charnak is.
That's my favorite one. Why are they selling? How old are they? I'm like, I don't know that. I mean,
well, the mighty Charlie Knack, or Karnak, but we'll say Charlie Knack here, is going to chime in on this. I got the solution. We could save the world with this right here. Everything, and anyone who knows me knows, and I hope that there's thousands of family law attorneys listening. I hate you all. All right, I'll come right out and say it. Harsh, yeah, right? Let's get in there. Wow. And the reason is, and yes, this is prejudice against family law attorneys. They like to enhance emotions. They like to make people angry, get them motivated to go ahead and do something dumb. Patrick, you have to be just the opposite. Is that right? I mean, that's... You have to tone down those emotions. Yeah, I mean... Instead of flaming them.
Those conversations you're having with them after the inspection takes place, unless they ordered an inspection through your company, it's basically me having that conversation with them, which isn't as helpful. But yeah, I mean, you know, I've learned so much from you over the past 18 months that I've been doing this, that, you know, my skills in terms of being able to have those conversations and, you know, kind of suss out what is reasonable, what's usual. I mean, I've been through hundreds of these things. I kind of know what I'm expecting, and I kind of know when to say, oh, wow, that's okay. And I don't know about that. But like, you know, if the furnace is 20 years old, hey man, it's 20-year-old furnace. If the AC is 20 years old, it's 20 years old. I mean, why didn't they replace it? Because it's still working. Yeah. And it's probably,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's probably going to work for another, 5-10 years. And if it doesn't, well, sorry, but
then you fix it. You put a new one in there. It's
but
not the end of the world.
Yeah, I do turn, or sometimes you do have to turn things up. If I discover things in condo documents that are like,
condo documents are a big deal.
Well, they can be. They can be. I just canceled the deal the other day because we found. I'm not gonna. We don't have enough time for me to tell you that story, but that's how it goes. You turn that heat up so that they know, hey, I see a massive red flag here. Now, if you're not worried about it, cool. Hey, all good. When you get that special assessment in 6 months, you're going to be fully aware that was coming down the pipe. But just as but yeah, if it's on the other hand something that is like, well, this is normal, okay, fine.
But Joey, do you get emotional clients when they come into your ballpark? Why are you giggling?
Absolutely, 1,000% all the time.
What do you mean all the time?
Well, everyone's emotional. I mean, there's like, but I said,
at the mortgage broker, it's kind of.
Oh yeah, I would see. I can see. I mean, they're getting. Oh, I need another pay stub. And
he's the gatekeeper of how much that thing's going to cost him every month.
I already sent this person all
Joey,
this
give
stuff.
us the details. Explain it to me, please.
No, I mean people. I mean, to Frank's point, granted, I issue pre-approvals that are very clean, but if it takes you a month or two to find a house, I'm gonna have to update docs, and then people are like, "Oh, but I already provided that." I'm like, "You provided stuff from 2 months ago. Like, hey, you still work there, you know?" So, I mean, it's goofy things like that.
Goofy.
The appraisal, like, hey, I want to be in the appraisal. I'm like, no, please do not go to the appraisal. That would be terrible. Do not be there.
Yeah, that's for the broker. That's for the broker.
Yeah, dude. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that gets. Yeah.
But I want to touch on the people being emotional and then agents, because some agents get emotional.
Oh no, yeah.
And a lot of there was people trying to sell me like I'm like this, like, oh, you know, I think they were trying to okay, I'm not like the bulldog person. That's sometimes people have this vision like, oh, you got to go in there and tell them your roof. I go, you got to put yourself in the seller's, like, okay, you have a house, it's been your pride and joy for 20 years. Now I got some guy that came in and walked through for 15 minutes and he's yelling at you how bad your house is. Does that sound like someone you want to work with?
No.
Does that sound like, and so when a problem comes up and you've already got everyone upset. Now that everyone already hates you. They don't even want to sell you a house. You're only getting it because you're paying more than everybody else. You want to be the attractive, like, hey, I like that guy. I like those people. They seem like nice. All right, whatever. He's got a couple. He's asking for a few items to get repaired. Let's just whatever. They seem cool. I get it. Versus like, oh, forget that guy, the know-it-all. Let him fix it. I ain't doing nothing. He knew everything. He should have known. You know. So I think people get emotional, but it's like, hey, we get it. There's this and that. Let's try to work it out. But if you start closing doors and people just start shutting down to you, and a problem comes up down the road, now you can't. Now you're stuck with an attorney letter that could seem kind of cold, and it puts you in. You know, I mean, you can only communicate. You could call, but it's letters. I know. And
I have only blunt instruments to work with.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the language
sounds.
The language could be sounding not aggressive, but it can be very like, oh, this guy, you know.
Oh yeah.
And
Trust
if
me.
everyone's upset already, now everybody's upset.
Yeah, those letters. Especially if there's something in there that I think, it might trigger people. That's a phone call
So
that
we
needs
do
to
have
happen.
a caller questioning in, and we are short on time. So go ahead, please.
Hey, guys, I'll make it real quick. This one's for you, Joey, and anyone else on there. So you guys were talking about value earlier in the show. Joey, I worked with you a few times. Obviously, you have tremendous value. But here's the thing. If it wasn't for me bringing my documents, wasn't me being Johnny on the spot like that, I don't think I would have gotten the full benefit of your value. Now, how do you handle clients that, I guess for a lack of better words, aren't working well, aren't helping to get your full potential value out? How do you coach them? How do you deal with them? I know it's a stressful time buying a house, but sometimes they need a little nudge, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, so I'm a blunt person, and I'll tell them, like, hey, here's the thing. You are coming to me asking for a briefcase of money, okay? I don't know you from Steve, and I need to verify that everything is still good to go on my end. So yeah, I have to update docs. I want to make sure that you didn't quit your job. I want to make sure that you're still getting paid the same thing that you've been getting paid. At the end of the day, my only goal is for you to be happy and be in your house and have this be stress-free. Also, I can tell you right now, it takes me about 2 seconds to pull up my pay stubs or contact HR, right? I know it's not a big deal. You're making it a bigger deal than it needs to be.
Hey, can I jump in here? I had
We
one
only
that
have less than a minute to go.
No,
so
really
go
quick.
ahead.
I had one that like the family member was helping out, and like the lady didn't want to show anything. She was all, and I was like, listen, man, the bank's lending you $300,000. Do you anybody else that's going to give it to you? She's got to come clean.
Exactly.
And then when you put it like that, like it's $300,000 they're giving you. Okay, you could give me 2 forms.
Sounds good. Well, we usually go around the horn at the very end. Thank you for calling in. It's a great question. I want to give special thank yous to Patrick Loftus of Loftus Law, Frank Scaletta of XR Realty, Joey Matthews, the VA Loan Nerd, and Devin Tingle, who is my favorite radio producer of everybody at WCPT. My name is Charlie. Thank you for listening, and I am out.